In less than 24 hours of lockdown notice from the Malaysian government, Ronald Lim, co-founder and events producer of Think Events by Think Tank Productions, and his team's agility was put to the test. As event companies race to convert their physical events to virtual ones, we speak with Ronald Lim about balancing and aligning expectations in the industry. Now, today we are talking about aligning expectations. So tell us a little bit about what have you learned about expectations over the past few months?
Everyone has their own expectations, whether it's in projects, in ourselves, or in our client, our team. But what I've learned the most is actually, besides aligning our expectation, we need to learn how to balance our expectations. I think that's very crucial, because especially in our industry right now, we are learning new things every day. Everyone is so new to the whole virtual world.
Right.
So I think the expectations here, we need to learn how to really balance it and keep it realistic.
Yeah. So how do you balance expectations, and why is it important to you?
The way we find that, I think that's the only way to really balance an expectation is through conversations. Very authentic, very truthful conversations. We cannot be too shy or high-say, in our Asian term, to say no, or even to highlight that no, that's not a good idea. We need to really have that conversation and to understand what is the core expectation that is more important. Sometimes we can have a whole list of tens or hundreds of expectations, but what is really important for that particular project? I think we need to be able to identify, and for example, if content and the speaker is more important for an event, then we should focus more on how we can actually deliver the content, the message flawlessly, rather than having too much bells and whistles that it's not important. So we need to really identify which expectation is actually more crucial and what is our priority. So through conversations, I think truthful and honest conversations with the other party, whether it's your client, whether it's your team, whether it's your supplier, I think that's very crucial. And this should start from way beginning of the project. It shouldn't be, halfway through, you have already signed the deal, and then, oh, by the way, we have this expectation that we need you to do. Yeah.
Is it realistic, given that now a lot of projects have been assigned at the very last minute? So how much time would you spend, or would you suggest, or would you actually personally allocate to understand their priorities in terms of your own and your customers? And how much time do you allocate to aligning those expectations?
Now we even get inquiry or even get appointed for a virtual event in as short as 2 weeks to 3 weeks time. How much time do we spend? I think things should run in parallel. Understanding the scope, getting the brief, that is key. And I think we spend 20% of our time trying to align or trying to balance the expectations. And then we will then have to spend time as well to find ways to fulfill certain expectations that we may not be sure of. Because a lot of testing has to be done. We have to, there's a lot of trial and error. So we need to test the system, we need to test the whole logic. A lot of things that we need to find out before we can tell the other party whether that expectation can be met or not.
When it comes to building towards being mentally fit, and in the area of aligning expectations, what are some of the pitfalls when it comes to unrealistic expectations?
I think the inability to accept that we can't be 100% perfect. I think that's something that I'm still learning. I'm still learning to accept that I can't fulfill 100% of my clients' requests or expectations. Because in the past, when we do live events, we will do our very best, and a lot of things are within our control. But now in the virtual world, a simple thing as the internet can just screw up the entire event. Yeah.
Is there one thing that you consciously, practice to maintain that balance, the mental balance, when you fall short of expectations?
Self-reminder. I remind my team, and also I will need to remind myself. Because sometimes I'll see that my team get really upset when they feel that they did not deliver to the fullest. Yeah. And I think that affects me as well. If I see that they're building themselves up, me as their leader, I feel that I didn't do enough. So it's a constant reminder, not just for myself, but also for the team that I work with.
Mm-hmm. And for many organizations and agencies like yourself and the one that you own, catching the next revenue opportunity is paramount, right? Because we are all trying to manage cash flow and everything. So how often do you switch off to make sure that you have enough time to catch a breath or catch a thought process as you reflect on some of the expectation realignment?
Something that I just started recently is to switch off after 8 p.m. So I won't look at my email unless that I'm on a real timeline where I have to fulfill certain timeline, right, or deadline. But other than that, weekends I'll try not to come back to the office. I'll not bring my laptop home. Yeah, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that is a great exercise that you're doing for yourself. And what have you learned since you've done that in terms of switching off after 8, or trying not to touch emails over the weekend? Will your service expectation of your company brand go, oh my God, are we not servicing our customers? Are we being less available? Were there any detriment to your brand?
Actually, no. So prior to doing that, that was my worry. Oh no, what will my client think of us? Are we getting snobbish or lancy now that we have our own personal time? But then I come to realize that we deserve personal time. We can't be 24 hours on call, and we need to learn how to explain that to the client. So what we did was we will actually tell the client that if they email us a request at 6:45 or 7 p.m. on a Friday evening for a change of visuals or stuff like that, then I'll just reply and say that our team has gone off for the weekend. Please send your email on all the changes that you require. We will look into it first thing on Monday morning.
And what was their response?
And they actually responded well. I said, oh, yep, noted. Sometimes they just need to get the task on their to-do list get struck off. They just have to send it out. But they don't really expect you to work after hours. But it's just our own assumption that we need to get it done now, and at this very minute.
Yeah, that is a brilliant example. I think coming back to your point, open conversations, open communication, aligning the mindset and expectations with customers, especially whoever that is paying us to do a job at the moment, is so important. Because if not, we can fall into bad habits or assumptions that create a lot of unnecessary worrying and work that we may not need.
Yeah, we can't assume that the client or the other party or even the vendor understand what we want. So that an honest conversation has to go on.
Totally. And so knowing what you know now, what advice would you have given Ronald 10 years ago when it comes to aligning expectations?
If I were to tell myself 10 years ago, we can't win all the time. And we need to learn to accept that we can't fulfill 100% of the expectation all the time. That doesn't make us a bad person or a bad event company. We simply just don't have the answer for everything. Yeah. And having that honest conversation is important.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. I think we can't win it all. I think most importantly, we have to win it for ourselves and to make sure that we are good to ourselves. We are being realistic to ourselves. Because when we are fully motivated and happy with what we are doing, I think it produces results naturally.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Ronald. Please take care and reach out if there's anything that we can do outside the lockout zone. Do let us know, and our sincere regards to you and your family.
Thank you.
See you. Bye.